What's up, guys? I'm back again. This is Roak. So, like, the past 10 days have been crazy. I told my story about addiction and recovery and how I lost my money and how I'm trying to rebound from that. The support on social media has been like mind blowing. I think we did like 100,000 views on Instagram or something like that, and which is like it's wow. I mean, you gotta understand, I've been like shit at social media since like it started. I mean, like the biggest reel I've probably ever done was like maybe 1,000 views or something. So for people to be commenting and showing their support and all that has been incredible. It feels fantastic to connect with those people, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been commenting on that. But I want to pivot because this is a music project, and not a recovery channel. So I am so thankful that everyone who has commented and liked and talked to me has been so great. I want to thank them for that. But like I said, I want to pivot now. So really what Roak is, the brand, is I'm a musician, and I made a record about the struggles that I went through. And what I want to do here on this channel is really like roll the music out, right? I want to make videos that give context to each song. Like I'm gonna make actual, I don't know if it'll be music videos, but every song that comes out will have an accompanying video for that song specifically. And I know what I'm gonna do, but I don't really think I want to talk about that quite yet, because I think that it'll be really cool whenever you see it with the song. So you might have listened to some of my previous music if you've been checking out my channel or whatever. That stuff was like a synth pop project. I worked on, there's like 2 songs that are out right now. And that was kind of the beginning of me understanding like really catchy melody and trying to figure that out. Previous to the synth pop stuff, I was in like a much heavier band, very industrial, heavy metal, shit like that. So, the idea with the synth pop thing was for me to develop catchy earworm melody and then bring it back to the heavy music. Well, the band I was in before, I'm still technically in the band, and we've been working on another record, but that's been moving very slowly. So in tandem, I built another record like as a solo project, which I'm putting out as Roak, because it's my story, and I just wanted to tell it exactly the way I wanted to tell it, and have it musically be exactly what I wanted it to be. Don't get me wrong, I love collaborating with other people, but with this particular project or music project, I wanted it, like, it had to be right. It had to be what I wanted, and because I needed to have the creative control on this one. So I did that. So it was pretty cool because it came out sounding at times industrial, at times kind of synth rock, but it's kind of it's a blending of genres really, and I really tried to stick with the catchier earworm melodies on most tracks, and I think we succeeded in that. There's a couple in there that are not as melodic; but they have more of like a chant. But that was like because I was driving a point home with those particular songs, because they're like pivotal in the story that I was trying to tell. So Life In UltraViolet is the name of the record. I think I said that in the last video. But it's like I said, it's a story, and it's like it starts before I was sober. So I don't want, all of these wonderful people who've been reaching out to me about recovery and everything. The first song in the album is definitely not, it's about, when I was using. So it's like the way that I felt when I was using, how I was thinking. And so you got to kind of bear with me here, right? Because it's not who I am anymore, but it was a time and a place where, I was thinking in a different way, but it sets everything up, right? So it sets up the beginning, like where we start. And then the rest of it is a journey from that point to where I am today. Or really it ends maybe about a year ago in my life. But, so that journey is going to be told in chapters. Basically, each song I think is like a different chapter of my life. And I don't want to like drop the whole album and then just disappear and it just fall on deaf ears and no one listen to it because, I have released lots of music in the past and I don't want to make that mistake again. So I have an entire rollout plan, like how I'm going to do this. And because, ultimately, guys, like the goal is to make some money. I think that I love making music and it's my passion, but, I also got to pay the rent. I also got to eat. And I would love to make music full time and make this my full time gig. So I'm going to do everything I can to make this record successful and the one that comes after it successful. I said in the last video, I was going to make one more record and say what I needed to say. And I did that. But I had so much fun making this record that I think I want to do another one. But that's not today's work. That's a little bit down the road because we got to get this out there first and get it heard and do our best to, try and build a brand with this, try and build a life with this because, I did this in my free time. I was still working full time the whole time I made this record. And I feel like if I had the opportunity to just work exclusively on music full time and dedicate myself wholly and truly to a singular pursuit, the speed at which I could get things done would be crazy. And my focus would be at such a higher level. I think that, like being able to have a singular focus where your effort is being put into is like so important if you're trying to like achieve a high level of quality. And, yes, speed matters a bit. It's not the most important thing, but it's even if, I finished each song in the same amount of time in the future, but I was able to put more into each song, then I would feel great about that, because I put every spare moment of time I had into this record. But once again, I still had to pay the bills. Like, I'm just a normal dude. I got to eat. I got to put gas in the car and do everything, everybody else got to do. So, having to work full time is, it just is what it is, and, I'm hoping that through making these videos, connecting with you guys, and building a brand, and that I can make this my full-time gig, because that's the thing I want most in the world. Like, I don't give a shit about fame, about being super rich, about being this or that. It's just like I just want to be able to do this because I enjoy this so much, and make music, and really like mixing music is my favorite part of the whole process. But if I could just, sit around and create all day and then, make the accompanying marketing materials to put the stuff out, I'd be happy with that. That'd be great. That'd be a great life. I'd be super stoked that that's what I got to do. So, in any case, I put together like an entire rollout plan for this album. So you got to understand also that I've put out like a fair amount of music in the past, and this is everything that I learned kind of doing that distilled into what worked, and I took everything out that didn't work. So, well, first of all, my first song on Life in UltraViolet, it's called Desire, is going to release July 10th at midnight or at 12 a.m. So I guess it'll be that, like, July 10th is a Friday. So Thursday at midnight, when it becomes July 10th, is when the song will come out. July 11th is actually my birthday. I kind of wanted to do it on the 11th, but I just kind of be shooting myself in the foot, missing a Friday. So I'm just going to do it on the 10th, and then we'll go with that. So that's part of the rollout plan, is I want to release music every 4 weeks. After Desire releases on July 10th, 4 weeks from that, the next song will come, and then the next song, and the next song, all the way to the end of the record. And the reason I want to do that in that way is because every time that you release a song, like on Spotify, you can pitch it to the editorial playlists. And I've actually never gotten on one, so I don't know how great that is or isn't. But it gives you another shot to get on that. And then it also allows you, like you release the first week, and then it gives you a couple of extra weeks to promote the song. And then if it does well, cool. If it doesn't, then we'll just move on. So it allows me to build like behind the scenes content around the song, around the video that I filmed for the song, to give more, story about like the world it's living in, and depth to the song. So that's the goals. We're going to do a new song every 4 weeks. And then with every new song, we're going to, like I said, also do a video that accompanies this song. I think I probably will do some like music videos too. Ideally, I'd do one for every song, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to accomplish that or not, just with time constraints. So if I can, I will. But if not, I'll get music videos done that I can. And, we'll just pivot and figure it out. And so the way I want to do this is that this album actually really fits into 3 distinct parts. And I'm going to call, it'd be like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And I'm going to roll the album out in that way. So we're going to do a waterfall release, which means, I'll release the first song as a single. Then the next song will come out on Spotify with the first song attached to it. And then the third with the second and the first. And then the fourth with the third, second, and first. And then that will be an act. So every 4 songs is an act. And the reason I wanted to do it that way is, number one, for like promotional and marketing purposes, it makes sense. And the primary reason, though, is that each act it's like in a film, like each act, it shifts the kind of point. Like there's a turning point that happens, between song 4 and 5. And then there's a turning point that happens between, 5, 6, 7, 8. So between 8 and 9. And I wanted to really like delineate that. And so I'm going to release the album in acts. So like on Spotify, you would see, songs 1 through 4 in Act 1, songs 5 through 8 in Act 2, and 9 through 12 in Act 3. And then, when the last song releases, I'm going to put the whole thing together as the album, Life in UltraViolet. So, my plan for the rollout, financially speaking, is I've got a marketing budget for it. So I'm going to run some meta ads through Instagram, and I'm also going to be running a Spotify playlist that features music in similar genre to what my music is. And so every time I drop a new single, it'll go, or a new song, it'll go into the Spotify playlist, which is the playlist will be promoted the entire time, and it probably will continue to be promoted into the future past this album. So that'll be getting promoted through like meta ads and stuff. And then each single song will have a dedicated ad budget for that song as it comes out. So I don't know about how I feel about ads or not. I've had success with them in the past, like the previous 2 Roak songs that came out. I think we did in the neighborhood of like 12,000 streams between the 2 of them, which, once again, it's not anything crazy, but it's a lot better than getting nothing, and like the way that I know Spotify works is it's kind of based on your popularity score. So, if you get a certain amount of streams, likes, and saves within the first week or 2, it starts to bump you up through the algorithmic playlist kind of machine. And if your song continues to do well with each playlist bump, then eventually it rises to the top and really gets up there. I haven't had any songs do that yet, but the idea is like compounding interest, right? So it's like release after release after release after release. More people will listen to the songs, more people get interested in what I'm doing and what I'm putting out. And, we're trying to it's like that, putting a snowball at the top of a mountain. At the top, it's a tiny snowball. By the time you roll it down to the bottom, it's an avalanche, So that's the kind of idea with releasing singles instead of the whole album at one time. Like, don't get me wrong, I would like to release 2 singles, then drop the whole album. But like, I'm at this point, I'm an unknown artist. So that doesn't make any sense because I miss all my marketing opportunities by doing that. And, it just doesn't, the way that the system is set up today, singles is what makes sense. And it just gives you so much more time to put into each track and try and give it legs, So we're going to do that. And then we're going to continue doing 3 short videos a day, on all the social media platforms that I'm on. That's Facebook, Instagram, obviously YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. So, like I said, Instagram's been going crazy for me. I've never had anything like that, man. So we're definitely going to continue with that. But I just want to put it out there that, recovery is part of my story, but it is not like the brand that I'm trying to establish. Like, this isn't necessarily a recovery brand. This is a music brand. So I wanted to just kind of put that out there. So, YouTube is going to be all my long form videos, like the past 2 and this one. I want to kind of like let the story live here on YouTube. Like, I want all the rest of the platforms to kind of funnel back here, because this is where all the finished work is going to live. The finished songs, the finished accompanying videos per song, all the behind the scenes content. So the short form stuff is going to live on the like Instagram, TikToks, Facebook platforms. I'm also on X. I have 1 follower, so doing great. But anyway, so YouTube is going to be where everything like the long form stuff lives. And then, okay, so after YouTube, I'm establishing an email list so that people who are like really into what I'm doing can get, all the updates with every time I'm releasing something. Or maybe in the future we'll do like, specific merch drops, or, people who are subscribed to the email list can get like, what's the word? They can get stuff that no one else can get. And, exclusive. They're going to be able to get exclusive stuff and, just stay up to date with what I got going on. And the biggest reason for an email list, though, is like, okay, the problem with social media today is that, like, okay, if I have a bunch of followers on Instagram, if I make a post, most of my followers won't even see it unless I go into meta ads and pay for that. But because the social media platforms are geared today for letting you, attract new people to your following, not just your friends or your followers. So that is kind of an issue when you're trying to put something new out and let people know who are interested in what you're doing, because either you have to pay Meta to let them know, or you can have an email list and just send them an email. So I want to build the email list so that I can get a hold of people who are interested in my stuff anytime that I got something going on. And then let's see. Oh, something I also want to do that I think will be kind of cool is like a week prior to my song coming out on streaming, I want to, I'll sell it for $1. So if people want to hear it, early, they can just buy it for $1, and I'll have that hosted either on Bandcamp, or maybe I will put it on my own website or something. I'm not exactly sure yet. That's something I still got to build. And then I also want to do like a $5 thing where, if you spend the $5, basically you'll get like handwritten lyrics from me. I'll write a lyric sheet for you. I'll send you like the album artwork and liner notes and all that kind of stuff, and the song, of course. And like that, so like physically mail that to you. And what I think is kind of cool about that is that over time, if we've done enough of that, then I'll have kind of an idea of where people who like what I'm doing live. So that makes a lot of sense to me, because then I can say, because like right now I'm not focusing on playing live at all. Playing live is like very expensive, and I played a lot live, and it's just not like, it makes so much more sense to like build a following, find out where they're at, and then plan a tour based on where they're at, so that when you go play the gig, you can come home with some profit and not, lose money on going to the gig, and or just playing to an empty show and living on gas station hot dogs and fumes in the gas tank. So I don't want to do that anymore. We want to strategically go about like, where people are. And then once we have enough people in a certain area, we can maybe go play a show, and hopefully people will show up and spend some money with us and enjoy the show. And, they're happy because they got entertained. We made some money. It's a win-win. So that's the goal with that. And, these first couple long form videos that I've been doing, you might have noticed, have been like shot a little bit differently. I have like a red Komodo cinema camera. And so I've been trying to like find the right lighting and color grading and stuff like that for when I actually shoot the song videos. And so these have kind of been experiments by me. And to be honest with you, I wasn't even going to post the first video. I just shot it as like a, like I said, like an experimental color grading thing and lighting thing. And the video came out pretty good. And so I went ahead and posted it, and I'm glad I did, because, like I said, it's generated so much interest. It's like blown me away. It was super cool. I've never had anything happen like that before. So, I mean, like I said in the past, I've had music that did decent, but, this was just my story based on, just whatever. And for people to reach out to me and connect with me like that was like the coolest thing ever. So, but anyway, like I said, so I think with this video, I think I've got it right. I think I've got the lighting right. I think I've got, how I'm going to do the color correction on this video right. I think I've figured it out. We'll see when I get this into post, but I think we're going to get there with this one. But yeah, I mean, so that's about what I've got today. Well, yeah, like, I mean, I guess one more thing. I don't want to just like be releasing songs into the void anymore. I want to like build a community here of people who like what I'm doing, and maybe collaborators, people I can work with in the future it would be cool. But I want to build a world for this art to live in, so that people can enjoy that. I mean, some of my favorite things are worlds that people have built, TV series, music albums, uh, things that are just really immersive and make you like they tell a great story. And I'm going to try and do that in my limited capacity. I have a small amount of experience in video and a large amount of experience in audio, music. So we're going to try and bring, the video skills up to par and make the videos look how I envision them in my head, and build a world with them, build a brand that lives in that world. And I think that I'm going to have something cool, something that I enjoy doing and can hopefully, in the future one day do it full time and make my living from it. And, so that would just be the coolest thing. I mean, live would be great too, but live is like such an investment, financially speaking, and like time. So, I'm glad that I did live as much as I did in the past because it was a great experience. It's great meeting people. It's great being out there. But at the end of the day, I got to get serious about this. And for live to work, the money has to work because I just got out of debt and I got no interest in going back into it. So, we're going to do our best with that, try and make this work and keep posting these videos, keep updating you guys. And, there'll be more to come. I think there's going to be 6 more videos after this, something like that, leading up to the release of the album. So, like I said, July 10th, 12 a.m., July 10th, the first song will be coming out. So that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.